Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Dr. Jamil Abbas from the Physiology Department, FMU, and this is the next lecture concerned with your endocrinology. And the topic for today's discussion is the calcium, phosphate, and the parathyroid hormone. First, we will take the brief review of the calcium level and how it is maintained along with the phosphate, and then we'll move to the parathyroid hormone, that their effect on the calcium, because parathyroid hormone, calcium, vitamin D, phosphate, these are the interrelated with each other. So let's take first the calcium. The normal calcium level in the extracellular fluid is 9.4 milligram per deciliter, or you can say the 2.4 millimole per liter. Out of this, 0.1% of the total body calcium is present in the extracellular fluid, and 1% is present in the cells and its organelles. Remaining is stored. The rest of your calcium is stored in your bones. Actually, the bones are the main reservoir of the calcium. When extracellular fluid calcium level decreases, it stimulates the release of the parathyroid hormone, which causes the bones to release the calciums. Actually, the calciums are the bones are the main reservoir of the calcium, and this parathyroid hormone is coming from the parathyroid glands, which are present behind your thyroid gland. They are 4 in number. We will see soon the details of all these things. When extracellular calcium level increases, bone can store this extra calcium, and calcium plays a key role in the muscle contraction, blood clotting, nerve impulse transmission, all these things. So calcium is a very important ion for us. Then hypercalcemia depresses the CNS. While hypocalcemia excites the CNS, it may lead to the tetany. Here's a diagram of your book. That roughly there is how the calcium is distributed. You can see that the extracellular fluid 0.1%, intracellular 1%, and rest of the calcium is stored or as a reservoir into your bones. Then what happens when the calcium levels become low? If the calcium levels become low, that will be known as the hypocalcemia, and this hypocalcemia may develop, the patient may develop the tetany. Tetany is a typical sign. I will go discuss this soon. You can see the diagram, or the B part of the diagram, that is known the tetany. I will soon discuss it. Then the patient may suffer from the Chauvet sign. That Chauvet turns to next slide. You will see all these things. Then laryngeal stridor. That is the patient has got this, you can see, screaming voice because of spasm of your laryngeal muscles. Then the patient may have the dysphagia, the difficulty in the swallowing, again due to the smooth muscle contractions. Then the tingling around the mouth or in the extremities. So these are the signs of manifestation of the hypocalcemia: the weakness of the muscles, the oblique, the tetany. I will give you the details of the tetany soon. Then the positive Trozier signs, then the Chauvet sign, Trozier sign, and the Chauvet sign, the same thing. Then the laryngeal stridor is a screaming sound coming from the mouth. Then the dysphagia, difficulty in the breathing and the tingling around the mouth or the extremities. Here you can see the hypocalcemia. What is the Trozier sign? Actually, the Trozier sign is that whenever you are going to tap your mouth, Trozier sign, Trozier sign, you can create it, or you can say that you can see the diagram. If you apply the blood pressure cuff for more than 3 minutes, then the patient may develop the carpopedal spasm. The proper word is the carpopedal spasm, which have got the characteristics. What are those characteristics? One of them is the flexion of the wrist. There is a flexion of the wrist. Then the adduction of the thumb, and then flexion of the metacarpophalangeal joints and the extension of the interphalangeal joints. This will going to form a typical shape, and you can see this shape here in the B portion. You can see the face, typical shape of the tetany. This is a typical shape. Then the patient can develop the Chauvet sign. Chauvet sign, if you tap in front of the ear, in front of the tragus over the facial nerve, this is the exit of the facial nerve, then immediately on that side there will be the contraction of the muscles. This is known the Chauvet sign. Then the patient may have got other things, laryngeal stridor, dysphagia, and tingling sensation. So these are the different manifestations of the hypocalcemia. Let's see what's the thyroid gland, uh, parathyroid gland. And this is a dorsal view here in the brownish color, the dorsal view of your thyroid gland, in which the bluish color parathyroid glands are attached. These parathyroid glands, they are four in number. They are present on the back of your or the dorsal side of your thyroid gland. This parathyroid gland actually this produce a hormone which is known as the parathormone or is known as the parathyroid hormone also. So the parathyroid hormone which is produced from the parathyroid gland, actually the parathyroid gland has got two types of cells. One is known as the oxyphil cells, the other is known as the chief cell. The function of the oxyphil cell is still unknown, but the chief cell they synthesize and store and secrete the parathyroid hormone. This parathyroid hormone actually affects on the bones, kidneys, and GIT, and it has got different effects. We will see in details. And its effects on the bone is very important. We'll take first of bone and then the kidney and the GIT. Actually, the parathyroid hormone is responsible to increase the extracellular calcium level. Whenever, sorry, you can see the release of the parathyroid hormone, and this parathyroid hormone has got different effects. It is going to affect on the bone, and then it's going to affect the kidneys, and then it's going to affect the your intestine. And net effect of all these is increased concentration of calcium in the blood, or you can say in the plasma. So what is the main stimulus for the production of the parathyroid hormone? The main stimulus is the hypocalcemia. Whenever there is a hypocalcemia, it's going to stimulate the production of the parathyroid hormone, and this hormone is responsible to increase the calcium level in the plasma by its action on the bones, by its action on the kidneys, and by its action on the vitamin D through vitamin D on the intestine. Let's take one by one. First of all, the vitamin D. Here is a diagram of how the vitamin D is synthesized. Actually, this is the you can see the structure of the skin in under the effect of the ultraviolet rays. Ultraviolet rays in the skin we have got a structure, the cholesterol structure, which is known as the 7-dehydrocholesterol, which is present already in your skin. So under the effect of ultraviolet rays, this 7-dehydrocholesterol is converted into the cholecalciferol vitamin D3, cholecalciferol, and also we take this cholecalciferol vitamin D3 through our food intake. Then this vitamin D3, the cholecalciferol, moves to the liver and brain, and here an enzyme which is known as the 25-hydroxylase. This converts this cholecalciferol into 25-hydroxy vitamin D3. This one. Then this 25-hydroxy vitamin D3 is moved to the kidney, and in the kidney there is an enzyme which is known as the 1-alpha hydroxylase. Actually, this 1-alpha hydroxylase is the enzyme on which your parathyroid hormone is going to affect and stimulate this 1-alpha hydroxylase. So 25-hydroxy vitamin D3 is converted into 1,25-dihydroxy vitamin D3 or calcitrol. This 1,25-dihydroxy cholecalciferol or vitamin D3 is the active form. So this is a rough idea of how the vitamin D3 is synthesized from skin to the liver and from liver to the kidney. Ultimately, we have got the active vitamin D3 after passage of the 25-hydroxy vitamin D3 through the kidneys. And this vitamin D3 is going to affect your intestine and helps in the reabsorption of the calcium to enhance the calcium level. We move to the next slide. What are the functions of the vitamin D? Vitamin D has got a lot of function. Today, in the presence of the coronavirus, all the physicians they are prescribing vitamin D, and they are saying that if you have the good levels of the vitamin D or the normal level of vitamin D, your immunity will be very strong, or you can save yourself from the side effects of the coronavirus. So vitamin D, zinc, and vitamin C, these are the essential vitamins to save yourself from the coronavirus. Vitamin D helps with the increase in calcium absorption from the small intestine, urinary calcium reabsorption. Actually, vitamin D3 acts on the kidneys and it causes the reabsorption of the calcium from the kidney. When I am using the word reabsorption from the small intestine from the kidney, that means calcium level is going to be enhanced in your blood. Reabsorption means back to the blood. And the bone mineralization. It helps with the traveling of the calcium and phosphorus in the blood. Then the modulation of the neuromuscular and immune system. Reduction of the inflammation. These are the brief, although the vitamin D has got a lot of functions, but this is a brief review that how the vitamin D is going to function. Main function is to increase the calcium level through intestine and through kidneys. Then it also helps in the immunity in the neuromuscular junction and to reduce the inflammation. Then parathyroid hormone and the vitamin D3, how they are going to interact with each other. This slide is very important to understand how they interact with each other. Here, actually the vitamin D3 and parathyroid hormone, they stimulate the production of the mature osteoclast by two actions. Number one, inhibition of the OPG. The OPG is known as the osteoporogen. Here your word the written is osteoproteogen. This is the OPG and it stimulates the OPG ligand. OPG ligand, another thing, the formation from the osteoblast. So then estrogen stimulate. This sentence is actually your MCQ usually, that the estrogen stimulates the OPG production. And you can well understand, I will go to the diagram, then you will well understand all these things. Then the osteoblast, the osteoproteogen OPGL, this is L for the ligand, also called rank ligand, that convert pre-osteoclast into mature osteoclast. Let's see the things. This move to the diagram. Actually, this is the pre-osteoclast. Actually, the function of the osteoclast is to reabsorb the bone, to remove the calcium from the bones and the other things. They produce different acid like HCl, like lactic acid, and they remove the bones from different areas. This is your osteoclast. This is a pre-osteoclast which is affected by the OPG ligand, and this is going to convert into a mature osteoclast. This mature osteoclast causes the removal of the, or you can say demineralization of the bones. And this OPGL ligand is coming from the osteoblast. And these osteoblasts, these are two neighboring osteoblasts. These osteoblasts, they are affected or stimulated by the parathyroid hormone or vitamin D3. Let's explain it again in a sequence. That the parathyroid and vitamin D, they stimulate osteoblast, and these osteoblasts, they produce OPGL. Then OPGL stimulates your pre-osteoclast or immature osteoclast and convert them into mature osteoclast. And this mature osteoclast attaches itself with the bone. Actually, this osteoclast is coming from the monocyte strain. These are the monocyte race. This osteoclast attaches itself with the bone and removes and releases the different acids, lysozymes, and this is called the demineralization of the bone. Again, back to this written thing. In short, osteoblast produces two substances. Although these two substances are not shown in your book diagram, it produces two things. One is known as the OPG ligand, which stimulates bone resorption through conversion of the immature osteoclast into mature osteoclast. Second thing, it produces OPG, which inhibits the action of OPGL. Actually, the action of this OPGL is inhibited by the OPG, which is also produced by this vitamin D3 and osteoblast under the effect of parathyroid hormone, iron, vitamin D. Move to the next diagram, you can again understand these things. Here you can see, you can well understand through this diagram that these are your osteocytes and these are the light blue, the osteoblasts. These osteoblasts, they produce the rank ligand. These are known as the rank ligand. This rank ligand is going to combine with the OPG and inhibit this one. Normally this rank ligand, normal function of this rank ligand is going to combine with the rank receptors Here this is your mature macrophage and this is your immature osteoclast, and it has got receptors from the rank ligand and it gets attached with it and it's going to convert in the mature one. So rank receptors, attachment of the rank ligand and conversion into the mature osteoclast, and osteoclast will do its function by the resorption of bone and release of the calcium. So the osteoblast, they produce rank ligand and their normal function this one. While this is osteocyte and some books says osteoblast, they also produces OPG. This OPG immediately bind with the rank ligand and their function of the rank ligand cannot be performed. Nor normal function of the rank ligand is to convert immature osteoclast into mature one, and mature osteoclast is going to form the reabsorption of the bone. This diagram is self-explanatory. You can very well understand through this diagram that PTH stimulate osteoblast to produce rank ligand which bind with the rank receptor on the immature osteoclast, while osteoblast also produces OPG which bind with the rank ligand and inhibit its action. So this was all about the action of the parathyroid hormone, vitamin D on the osteoblast. Then what is meant by the VDR? This is the vitamin D receptors, and MMPs, these are known as the matrix metallopeptidase. So vitamin D is going to affect your chondrocytes, it is going to affect your osteoclast, it is going to affect your osteoblast. So things are written over here. On the chondrocytes, increases the expression of the VDR, increase the MMP expression, cartilage and bone degradation, then hypertrophy, reduce mineralization. While on the osteoclast, indirect vitamin D signaling via osteoblast, increase bone resorption. The function of the osteoclast is basically the bone resorption, while function of the osteoblast is the building of the bone, B for the building of the bone, osteoblast for the building of the bone. And then what is the function of osteoblast? Express the VDR, increase proliferation, increase bone formation and mineralization, increase angiogenic potential. So these are the review of how the vitamin D is going to affect the bones. Here the rough, or you can say, cycle of the parathyroid hormone. We will start it from this low blood calcium. When the blood calcium is low or hypocalcemia, it acts as a strong stimulus for the production of the parathyroid hormone from the parathyroid gland. This parathyroid hormone is going to affect on the kidneys, and from the kidneys you have got the active vitamin D3, this calcitrol. This active vitamin D3 is going to cause the resorption of the, or you can say absorption of calcium from the intestine. It causes the demineralization of bone through removal of the calcium from the bone. Ultimately, the calcium level is enhanced in the plasma, and this enhanced calcium is going to suppress or to change the low calcium level. So this is a cycle for the production of the parathyroid hormone. You will start it from the low blood calcium or the hypocalcemia. Then different functions of the calcitrol vitamin D. Again, this slide is self-explanatory. I'm not going to you can say read throughout this diagram. You can stop it on your videos and you can learn it, you can memorize it, all the things. Then the calcitonin. Calcitonin is synthesized by the C or the parafollicular cells lying between the follicular cells of the thyroid gland. Calcitonin, although this role the calcitonin is very small in the human being, although it has got very effective role in the animals. The main thing for the calcium is that it decreases calcium level in opposite to the parathyroid hormone. Parathyroid hormone increase your calcium level, while the calcitonin decrease its level. The primary stimulant is the increase in calcium level. That for the parathyroid hormone, the hypocalcemia was the main stimulant. And for this calcitonin, the hypercalcemia is the main stimulant. In human, quantitative role is much less. Then the mechanism of action of this. Immediately decrease the reabsorption capacity of the osteoclast. That means whenever the calcitonin come into the action, the osteoclastic activity is immediately reduced. Then decrease the formation of new osteoclasts. Then the osteoblasts are also reduced. That means the osteoclasts not only reduce their activity, but their formation and osteoblast formation is also reduced. Then the minor effect of calcium handling in the kidney and GIT is also there. Calcitonin effect is weak because after reduction in the absorption of calcium, there is a strong stimulation by the parathyroid hormone, but in children, effect of calcitonin is more pronounced because of rapid remodeling of the bone. So the calcitonin, you can say in one sentence that calcitonin function is opposite to that of the parathyroid hormone. And whenever the calcitonin tries its function, immediately parathyroid comes into action and the calcitonin action is depressed then. Thank you.